real look at the roster. So what stood out in Giants camp this week? Well, let's check in with Giants reporter Jordan Raanan.
Watching Giants OTAs this week, it had a very different look, aside from new coach John Harbaugh running 50 live reps at Thursday's practice. Quarterback Jaxson Dart spent the majority of his reps under center. That's a major change in new coordinator Matt Nagy's offense. Dart spent just 10.3% of his offensive snaps as a rookie under center. But Dart said he's going to be doing a lot of new things this season, among them being under center with the action game, a lot of alerts and kills at the line of scrimmage. There's a lot put on the quarterback's shoulders, and he's also been working on his cadence. But that might not be the only difference we see with Dart this season. He conceded at a town hall earlier this week that the biggest thing he learned as a rookie was that he has to remain on the field in order for his team to be successful. He even said the NFL is a lot different than college. This is a major change in rhetoric for Dart heading into year 2, with the admission that he's going to be more selective of when to run and when to slide.
Jaxson Dart was pretty good when he was on the field last year. A strong rookie season, led all rookies in pass and rush touchdowns. 9 rushing touchdowns were actually the second most by a rookie quarterback since 1950, and he led all quarterbacks, rookie or otherwise, in rushing yards from week 4 on last year. So, Bill, when you look at Jaxson Dart coming off that strong rookie season, what do you look at as the next step, and how do you assess what he's got in front of him?
Yeah, it's working in the offense in rhythm, Dan. You look at what he did last year, so much of it was, like you said, as a runner on those design runs, on scrambles. And then as a passer, a lot of it was RPOs, very quick throws, or those throws that were happening on those scramble drills as an improviser. In the rhythm, 1.5 to 3 seconds. He had the worst QBR in football. He wasn't even in rhythm as often, maybe as you would hope for some other quarterbacks. And so, challenge for the Giants now and Matt Nagy is going to be getting him throws in the structure of the offense, getting Nagy to trust the route distributions, getting him to trust that offensive line, which is obviously has some new faces as well, and then getting him to operate before he has to run. If he can avoid needing to run, needing to scramble, needing to extend plays, that's going to be fewer hits, and it's going to be hopefully a quarterback who makes it through the entire season.
Bill is exactly right. You look at the numbers here, and there's 2 things Jaxson Dart was really good at. He was top 5 in throwing on the run when he was moving at over 8 miles per hour, according to Next Gen Stats. And he was also good at scrambling. And for me, you got to take those 2 things and you got to marry them with the in-rhythm throws and get him almost like Caleb Williams last year, where he still held onto the ball long when he earned it, when he deserved it, when it justified it, to say, hey, I'm going to be back there trying to make things happen. But he also said, hey, we're going to do quick game stuff. We're going to get the ball out quickly. We're going to marry those 2 things and either get rid of the ball quickly or make things happen on a 5 or 6 second play. What you don't want is a 3-4 second play that develops and takes a long time for no reason. I'm looking forward to those kind of plays, those kind of middle hitter plays to take a next step in Jaxson Dart's game. If he's healthy, they can make the playoffs this year.
Oh, interesting. We'll see how the Giants do on that. News coming out of New York last night, though, Mina, as the Giants extended GM Joe Schoen. What do you think of that move?
I found it puzzling, I'll be honest. I'm not quite sure why they were in a rush to do this. Straight up, like, I don't, somebody, you know, are they going to face competition for Joe Schoen's services at some point? I really don't know. Especially, like, when you think about this team and what it's been underneath Schoen. Obviously, the moves that he gets the most criticism for was the combined decision to pay Daniel Jones and franchise Saquon, let Saquon walk. But it's really more than that. I think his probably biggest problem as a GM has been the inability to fix the offensive line, which during his tenure ranks 25th in pass block win, at times has looked worse. The best offensive lineman is one he didn't draft. That would be Andrew Thomas, who's a very good player. But that's been just such an issue for this team for so long now. And then defensively, a lot of the free agent signings have simply not worked out. And you saw that. This is one of the worst defenses in football last season because of it. Malik Neighbors is his best draft pick. Obviously, it was a top pick, so he was kind of a no-brainer as a player, but he now is battling injury. And then you look at that receiver core, if Neighbors misses any time, and you get really concerned about the depth behind him. So I guess in totality, yeah, I do not feel like the body of work has produced a winning record. Obviously, that's been the case if you look at them over the last few years and how the Giants have finished. And ultimately, this decision is I don't really understand it.
Yeah, you mentioned those issues with the roster. Go back to his first draft. I mean, they drafted Evan Neal in the top 10 ahead of Charles Cross, who became a cornerstone tackle for Seattle as they won the Super Bowl last year. Following year, they take Deontay Banks in the first round ahead of Joey Porter Jr., who's become a star cornerback in Pittsburgh. Those kind of core picks, what Joe Schoen was brought in to do after having success in Buffalo under Brandon Beane, have not really worked out. 25 drafts were off to a pretty good start, but 22 to 24, they had 11 top 100 picks. 3 of those guys might be starting this year. Neighbors, who we know is hurt, Tyler Nubin at safety, and Drew Phillips, their nickelback. So they don't really have that core of young talent that Shane was supposed to bring in. And obviously, with John Harbaugh, potentially there's being some conflict there in terms of who's making the decisions. Just surprised they made this decision now instead of seeing this play out for a year, maybe evaluating after the season.
All right, well, after firing the Giants fans up with all that analysis, we have more bad news. New on NFL Live, Giants defensive lineman Roy Robertson-Harris tore his Achilles at Thursday's OTA workout and is expected to miss the 2026 season as a result. That's per our Jordan Renan, who you heard from earlier. Kevin, how bad is this bad news for the Giants defense?
It's not good, Dan. They were able to, after they traded Dexter Lawrence, add in a couple guys, DJ Reader, Shelby Harris. But if you've got defensive linemen available after the draft, they're not going to be instant impact guys. Okay, that's just how this league works with defensive linemen. So you lose a potential starter there. It just puts a spotlight on the guys who have to be able to rush the passer this year for the defense to have any success. We know who that is. Abdul Carter, who had the most quick pass rushes in football last year, getting to the quarterback in under 2.5 seconds. He obviously led all rookies in quarterback pressures as well. And then Reese, obviously the rookie out of Ohio State. Those guys have to get pressure on the quarterback because Dexter Lawrence was able to command so many double teams last year. He was able to get to the quarterback from an interior spot. He was a game wrecker. So that, to me, is the biggest thing. They're very, very thin at defensive line. This injury is only going to accent that.
Absolutely. We'll see. They are loaded at the pass rush spots.
Sure.
Maybe they just have to ask that much more of all those guys. Welcome into NFL Live on this off-season Friday. Dan Graziano here with Kevin Clark and a couple of fancy new comfy chairs I think we got here. We got Bill Barnwell. We got Mina Kimes as we wrap up a busy week around the NFL. 10 teams hit the field for OTAs this week. We got quarterback battles. We got veteran stars making their way back. We got new look offenses that these teams are starting to put together. Plenty to get to over the next hour. But we start in Pittsburgh, where Aaron Rodgers is officially back on the field for what he says will be his final NFL season. Our Steelers reporter Brooke Pryor has more on how Rodgers is feeling heading into year 22.
Surreal. That's the word of the week in Pittsburgh, beginning when Rodgers arrived at the Steelers training facility Monday morning before 7 a.m. to sign that one-year deal. And it was a feeling that permeated all the way through Wednesday afternoon when Rodgers said, this is it. The 2026 season will be his last in the NFL. Surreal is also the word that both Rodgers and Coach Mike McCarthy used to describe working together again. Rodgers said it felt like a pinch me moment to be back in those meetings with Mike McCarthy, that he felt like it was 2006 and he was a 22-year-old back in Green Bay. Now, McCarthy described walking onto the field with Rodgers as a special moment. And when asked if Rodgers still has it, he said, oh yeah, he made sure to show that to us on Monday. Now, with all of these surreal moments, this pair could be in line for yet another one. Of course, they won a Super Bowl together in Green Bay against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Perhaps another one is on the horizon.
Perhaps. Nostalgia is really cool, Kevin Clark, but it's not 2006, and Aaron Rodgers is not 22. What are your expectations for the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers this year?
Surreal is not the phrase I would use, Dan. I believe the phrase is, the definition of insanity is running it back with Aaron Rodgers and expecting different results. I look at this guy, and he's had an amazing career. He's one of the most talented guys in the history of the position. But last year, he was 27th in the league in deep ball completion percentage. He got rid of the ball quicker than anybody in the league, and because of that, threw shorter passes than anybody in the league. He had more throws under 10 yards than anybody in the last 5 years. I just don't see a lot of hope here. Mike Tomlin is a better coach than Mike McCarthy. Not a lot of expectations of Pittsburgh.
To Cleveland, where our Browns reporter Daniel Oyefusi is, as usual, tracking a quarterback competition as it continues to develop.
At Browns OTAs, all eyes are on the ongoing quarterback competition between Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson. Sanders and Watson have split first-team reps throughout the spring, and first-year coach Todd Monken was complimentary of both quarterbacks this week. Watson hasn't played since tearing his Achilles in October 2024, but Monken said he's all for a clean slate. And though Watson turns 31 this fall, Monken said his athleticism is still one of his superpowers. Monken also spoke highly of Sanders' development in year 2, saying he's come a long way in terms of his progressions and his understanding of concepts. Now, Monken has said he would love to leave the offseason workout program and enter training camp with a clear starter, but he's going to let this competition play out and not rush into a decision. When asked for an updated timeline to name a starter, Monken said, "We'll have it set for Jacksonville in week 1.
Right, that's great. That's exactly when they need to have it set for Bill Barnwell. But no matter who the quarterback is, what does Todd Monken's offense need to do to take the pressure off of him?
They need to get the run game going. These quarterbacks, no matter who they pick, no one, there's going to be a great mix here. Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, 89th and 90th amongst quarterbacks who threw 100 passes or more over the past 2 seasons. This running game, 14th in success rate in 22 and 23, 30th though, after Nick Chubb got hurt over the last 2 seasons. So they're going to need to get the run game going. Probably going to be quarterback changes throughout the year, no matter who starts the season in week 1. So let's get the run game going, take some of the pressure off of it.
Quarterback changes in Cleveland. Would that be a first? Anyway, let's stay along the coast of Lake Erie and head to Buffalo, where Josh Allen and the Bills got OTAs underway this week under new head coach Joe Brady. Elena Getzenberg has the latest on how Allen and things are shaping up early on in Buffalo.
One of the most common words heard here at One Bills Drive this week is exciting, as OTAs got underway with first-time head coach Joe Brady. Linebacker Terrell Bernard, one of 2 team captains from last year's team, along with quarterback Josh Allen, noted that it feels like a new era of Bills football and that brings with it a fresh start, which is exciting. He said that Brady's energetic personality has been on display in the building. Out on the practice field, I noticed a little bit of that in the form of the music having a bit more of a pop to it, a little louder at times than perhaps a traditional Sean McDermott practice would. When talking to people in the building, they said that it feels a little looser, a little bit more relaxed than it was under McDermott. The Bills have had strong participation for these practices, including players coming off injuries like Allen himself and tight end Dalton Kincaid. Now, Brady's been in this building since 2022, so for the offensive players, actually the biggest adjustment now per Kincaid and getting used to having Brady as the head coach is seeing him cheer on players on the defensive side.
Mina, Elena talking about the offense, but you have your eye on the defense where there's a new coordinator. What has to happen up front there in order for the team to reach its ceiling?
Yeah, by far the more significant change in Buffalo, given that the offensive coordinator is now the head coach, is going to be the loss of Sean McDermott, who was, that defensive-minded head coach, and what their new defensive coordinator, Jim Leonhard, brings to the table. He has a fantastic reputation going back to college, but over the last couple of years, he's been part of that Denver defense, which is one of the best in the NFL. However, the players he had to work with in Denver were very different in terms of the speed of the pass rush and the talent of the secondary. So this is a challenge for him and also for this Bills defense that must be better at stopping the run than they were last season when they were amongst the NFL's worst in run defense.